A moment of wonder. Ancient Indian texts describe a coastal metropolis built by Lord Krishna that defied the limits of the era. The Bhagavata Purana depicts a city of over 900 sprawling palaces, with walls shimmering in silver and a layout of geometric perfection. This golden age ended in total destruction in a single day. For centuries, historians viewed these accounts as pure allegory. To the modern academic world, the soaring palaces and the catastrophic flood were religious metaphors, stories designed for moral instruction rather than historical record. Yet the culture surrounding the site remained unshakable. On the coast of modern Gujarat, the active Dwarkadish temple still towers over the Arabian Sea, serving as a physical center of faith for millions who believe the legend is anchored in truth. Curious, this creates a tension between tradition and science. To find the truth, we have to look past the theology and ask if these texts were actually preserving the memory of a real prehistoric tragedy. The first signs of a physical reality appeared in the 1960s. Local fishermen and pilots began reporting strange shapes deep beneath the Arabian Sea, straight lines and geometric patterns that appeared to be part of a submerged grid. A concrete historical anchor emerged in the 1970s with the discovery of a 6th century copper plate belonging to King Sindadas. The inscription on this plate explicitly linked a real historical ruler to the residence of Krishna. For the first time, researchers had a government record that placed the legendary figure at a specific geographic coordinate. Marine archaeologist Dr. S.R. Rao used this lead to test a radical theory. He proposed using the Mahabharata not as a religious poem, but as a navigational map to hunt for a lost civilization. This reclassified the ancient scriptures. They were no longer just stories. They became potential roadmaps for discovering a city that science said shouldn't exist. In 1979, Dr. Rao launched India's first marine archaeological expedition. His team faced immense skepticism and a lack of resources, relying on local divers to manually scan the ocean floor in search of man-made structures. Beneath the sand, divers discovered structures defying natural formation, massive, precisely cut square stone blocks across the seabed. Stretching over 500 meters, their linear alignment and right-angle geometry corroborated the massive architectural scale described in ancient texts, proving an urban center once stood here. The team also found 3 whole stone anchors hidden among the ruins. These artifacts indicated an advanced maritime culture with the technology to manage heavy vessels in a sophisticated port. Despite the physical evidence, critics remained unconvinced. Many scientists argued these ruins were simply modern maritime debris or the remains of a much younger medieval settlement. Finding stones underwater was only the first step. To verify if this was indeed the Dwarka of legend, researchers had to prove the age of the site. By the early 2000s, the investigation utilized modern technology. Scientists deployed specialized vessels like the SafeCat to conduct systematic sonar surveys of the Gulf of Combat and the Dwarka coastline. High-resolution sonar mapped the seabed, revealing a systematically laid-out urban footprint. Digital reconstructions showed grid-like foundations and drainage systems hidden under meters of sediment. Divers recovered physical evidence from this grid for laboratory analysis. The collection included pottery shards, limestone blocks, and skeletal remains that provided the raw data needed for dating the site. The find included intact clay vessels adorned with distinct black fish motifs. These items suggest a localized culture living on the site, rather than transient maritime debris. This chart compares the site's age to known history. Carbon dating of recovered artifacts showed they were between 5,000 and 9,000 years old. This places the civilization far earlier than the established Harappan era. This dating aligns the ruins with the traditional window for the Mahabharata era. It forces a significant reassessment of when complex urban societies first appeared in this region. The final question is one of mechanics. How did an entire metropolis end up at the bottom of the ocean? Oceanographers tracking 20,000 years of Arabian Sea history have pointed to a global sea level rise theory to explain the city's fate. Geological data confirms that around 5000 BCE, the region experienced a sudden, violent 25-meter rise in sea levels. This shift, likely accompanied by tsunamis, would have been powerful enough to permanently submerge the coastline. The catastrophic curse described in ancient texts mirrors the physical evidence of this prehistoric climate shift. The legend appears to be a preserved oral history of a real environmental disaster. After 90 years of investigation, the perspective on Dwarka has changed. The site is now recognized as a significant submerged archaeological complex, providing a physical anchor for a story once thought to be a myth. These ruins represent a point where spiritual tradition meets geological science. The submerged stones confirm the ancient texts were grounded in a real environment. Today, this heritage is being reintegrated into modern history. Recent underwater missions have allowed scientists and leaders to explore these ruins firsthand, bridging the gap between the modern world and its ancient foundations. Dwarka proves that oral traditions are often our most resilient historical records. They carry the memory of lost civilizations across millennia, ensuring that a culture's truth is never entirely reclaimed by the sea.